When you spend 2 decades wearing a motorcycle club patch, serving in leadership, and half a century raised in the life, among some of the largest organizations on record, there are several life lessons to be learned. This is one of those lessons. I know that some of you that have been following me for a while may remember that last year I filed a motion on behalf of a brother in a U.S. District Federal Criminal Court case. Even though butting heads with the U.S. injustice system isn't something necessarily new to me, this process at the federal criminal court level has been a real eye-opener. Since this case involves not only the federal court injustice system, but also Social Security SSA, Social Security SSI, the VA, and the DOJ, I have now had a front row seat to how corrupt this system really is. Now let me preface this with the known fact that I'm not a lawyer, but I am damn good at building and using AI since the day it was released to the public. So I have built one hell of an artificial legal team, and I can tell you one thing for sure, and that is that I bet you the entire U.S. injustice system absolutely hates that AI was released to the general public. Now I know that many of you don't trust AI or don't understand it, and yes, it can be a real pain in the ass. But one of its positive traits is that it doesn't have feelings or emotions. So once you get the correct output that you're looking for, it only delivers facts as it knows it. Which can be a double-edged sword, because it will empirically lie to you about shit that the government's been lying to us to for years, because that's all it knows. But in some cases, such as law and judicial processes, it can be pretty damn good. Because it is not emotionally attached to the case like a human being is, so when it spits facts, it just spits facts. And oftentimes, those facts cannot be disputed by any judge or judicial system because it's based on pure facts. Now that doesn't mean that the government's going to stop playing their games like they have always done and gotten away with for about the last 200 years. It just means we can call them on it, and that is exactly what I did. This poor brother has been getting jerked around by the Social Security Administration, the VA, and the federal court system for, probably about 3 years before I was asked if I could help. Let me say this. In my opinion, a lawyer is just the opposite side of the same coin as the injustice system and prosecutors. Because they're all chummy buddies who trade people's lives on the golf course like they're playing cards. These demons have no souls. So with the help of AI, we assembled about a 134-page motion with the exhibits for corrective action in his case. And let me just say, this is the first indicator of how stupid and wasteful the American injustice system is. Because you know damn well that when you send all this paperwork in, which weighed probably 22 pounds between all of the copies that had to be sent to everybody, what do you think happens to it? Do you think they actually pass these papers around with how many federal cases are filed every single day in this country? I guarantee you that we are paying a fortune for some giant federal team to do nothing but stand at a multi-function copier scanner and put these into digital format once they receive this mound of dead trees on a daily basis. You can file your taxes electronically, and you better pay them the $7.25 they say you owe them. But every single federal case motion for appeal or whatever has to be received in paper copy. One of the most asinine things I've ever heard of. So twice this federal judge denied 2 previous motions on the basis that she thought she could. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong to them. It only matters if they fuck you around as much as possible. So when we filed this motion, we basically asked the federal court system to enforce its own previous court order, demand that the other government agencies stop violating the court order, and require them to cease and desist immediately with their illegal actions in violation of my brother's constitutional rights. We reminded the court they must follow the guidelines of the U.S. Supreme Court's rulings on 3 different cases that we had referenced. We pointed out to the judge that she had violated the U.S. Supreme Court ruling as well, and to tell the DOJ to sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. And they did. Let me tell you something. They don't like it when you do that. So the DOJ fired back a response to our motion. It sounded like a crybaby 3-year-old pissing, whining, and moaning about shit they did wrong, but they had to refund a lump sum of money back to my brother that they tried to steal from him. And then, of course, completely ignored responding to any of the parts where they violated his constitutional rights. It has been 13 months since we filed the motion, and the judge has not ruled on the motion, which is an intentional and obvious immature attempt by the court to play ostrich and stick their head in the sand, or just try to wait out eternity instead of admitting how badly they fucked up. I don't know what they're thinking, but the judge hasn't even ruled on the motion that was filed a year ago, and here the SSA come again, trying to violate my brother's constitutional rights with a letter last week. We already smacked them in the face and told them to cut their shit when we filed the motion last year, and they knew they couldn't get away with what they were trying to do before. So they just went to a different tool in the fuck the American citizen toolbox, because they think they're sly as a fox, and they're not. They're just stupid and arrogant. So yesterday I spent all day assembling a 24-page emergency motion and demand that the court intervene immediately. What does that mean? Probably not jack shit, as they'll probably sit there and try to ignore it, which just means we go above their head to the 11th Circuit Court, whom I'm sure are just another big bag of dog shit. So what's the lesson here? The lesson is, even though we blame the quote justice system, or we blame the quote government, as if they are some big faceless entity, let's not forget the fact that there are humans that are involved in those actions, and they are a bunch of shitbags. So I have a special question to anyone that works in the American injustice system, or law enforcement, or for that matter, anywhere in any government agency. What in the literal fuck is wrong with you? I mean, seriously, what in the fuck is your mental deficiency? I mean, were you just born an arrogant, pompous prick who hates American citizens? Or is that something you learned at the deep state-funded university you attended to get your license to steal from the American citizens? Is there like a prerequisite that you have to be a mental prick to work for these agencies? Think about it. It doesn't matter if it's the VA, Social Security, the IRS, or even your local government Bureau of Motor Vehicles. Their entire career is based around fucking the American citizen every chance they get. I think they literally enjoy fucking their own neighbors and fellow Americans. If you fit in this category, you better find the Almighty and apologize for being an evil cunt your entire life before the American people finally get fed up with your hypocritical bullshit. But then again, what the hell do I know? I'm just Tabasco the Biker, Esquire, at your service. Keep it real.
In the club life you get one shot to prove that you're a man, one shot to be the best you can.